Now, as soon as I hit advanced mode, the table of contents got a lot longer, didn't it? When you do advanced mode, you get an opportunity to select your template, see, so you get more choices. And the templates that come with Oracle 12c are general purpose, custom, and data warehouse. And you notice that in 2 of the 3 cases, data files come along for the ride. This is what's called a seeded database template. And yes, you can customize these templates, you can build your own. If you click Show Details, it'll give you a much richer idea of what to expect in terms of the initialization parameters that are preset in the template, the character sets, the data file paths and names, the table space names, the initial sizes. And yes, you can customize all this and save your custom configuration as a template. And what's cool about that is, like I said, if you have need to deploy multiple databases using the same parameters, you have all of that stuff stored in a nice template file. Pretty cool, huh? Well, I'm going to choose the general purpose or OLTP template and click Next to continue. Now we're asked for a global database name and a database SID. Now I'm going to create a container database here. So my global name is going to be ConDB. And as soon as you type that, the SID gets echoed as the same value. In most cases, the global database name and the SID are the same. And then you can actually create 0 or more pluggable databases. I'm just going to create one, and I'll call it PlugDB. Note that you can create an empty container database and then do PDP deployment later, or you can deploy a PDP inline, and that's actually what I'm doing here. The default is to include the embedded EM Database Express. Alternatively, I can register with Cloud Control. I'm going to stay with DB Express here, keep things basic. And we've seen these options before. Our default administrator accounts, sys and system, no big surprise there, but look here, PDB admin. There's a third administrative user. And we also have to provide the Oracle Home account owner password at the OS level. It detects that I have one listener already enabled and listening on port 1521. That's for my ASM instance. I can reuse that if I want to. I'll leave that as a default. Alternatively, you can customize the listener name, port number, which I'll do just for grins. I'll create listener 2 on port 1522 and click Next. Now notice that it's defaulting to file system. I actually have my ASM instance, so I'm going to make sure to select that. When you do that, Oracle Managed Files is enabled. If I want a multiplex, I can specify those paths right here, which I won't do right now. For flash recovery or fast recovery as it's called nowadays, is simply a default location for saving your backups. And the default is to put it under Oracle-based fast recovery area. But you can also put your fast recovery area on a disk group if you want to. If you hit File Location Variables, this reminds you of what's happening in terms of your environment variable loadout, your Oracle base, your Oracle home, your DB name, etc. Let's click Next. If you want to learn from the sample schemas, that's cool, like order entry and HR, etc. We can install those. Those come in under a table space called example and weigh in about 150 megs, not too bad. If you want to slipstream a SQL script in to run after the database is created, you can browse out and grab that. Database vault and label security, those are pretty powerful security measures you can add to your database. Especially if you're under governmental or industry compliance, you may want to look at those. We'll leave those off for now. This page is pretty rich. It deals with our initialization parameters. And we can use automatic memory management. By default, Oracle will want 40% of your installed memory. We can hit Show Memory Distribution. Depending upon whether we're doing automatic or we can set, it'll tell us our expected SGA and PGA sizes. We've got a slider here that we can use as well. Sizing is where we can customize our blocks and our number of processes. Character set, again, do you want to use the default? Do you want to go for Unicode? Are you using alternate languages? Do you need to store yen values or euro values? In that case, use Unicode, or you can choose from a list. Connection mode, we recall that dedicated and shared are the 2 ways to go with that. Dedicated means each user gets their own associated server process. Shared means we have a dispatcher who fields those connections. Let's come back to memory. We have all initialization parameters, and these are actually editable fields. So what you can do here is customize your initialization parameter values before you provision the database. That's very handy, isn't it? And we can see DB create file dest is already populated with our disk group, our ASM disk group. Very handy indeed. Let's click Next.